listening to The Mineral Way every Monday live right here at 831-479-1080. Text messages can be sent 24/7, 831-218-5726. Emails as well, kseodave@gmail.com. You can also interact at The Mineral Way every Monday live at 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Pharmacist Ben Fuchs joins us to answer your questions, scratch your itches, and even... what, Ben? I need something else, man. Come on. I need recipes. Do we have recipes?
Recipes?
Yeah.
What are you talking about, recipes?
You know, like,
I
don't you have a clam chowder recipe or a chili?
No, I've got a really good recipe.
Okay.
How would you like a recipe for a breakfast that has hardly any calories and is super filling, high in protein, minerals, vitamins, and great for your digestive system?
Is this SMEP? What is this?
Fun of me. I couldn't come up with anything better than SMEP. You didn't come up with anything better.
No, I didn't, Ben. I know.
Yeah, all right. So don't make fun of me. SMEP. It's memorable.
It is memorable.
Do you remember? Do you remember what it stands for?
Spirituality, mental. I don't know, Ben.
Spiritual, mental, emotional, physical.
Oh, okay.
The 4 dimensions of healing. And I always have to bring that up, because in the nutrition business, sometimes we forget that it's not just about chemistry. It's not just about nutrition. It's mind power. It's your emotions and spirituality. They all play a role in how the body shows up. And our medical model doesn't address that. And I don't want the nutrition model or the alternative model to be a derivative of the medical model. Did you ever hear the concept of allopathic nutrition?
The name sounds vaguely familiar, Ben. Refresh my memory.
Okay, yes. Allopathy. Allo means against. Path means disease, like pathology. Allopathy means against disease.
Okay.
And so our medical model practices allopathic medicine in the sense that you have a disease, they give you a remedy, a drug, or a surgical procedure, or whatever they give you. That's called allopathic medicine. It's against disease. Well, I sometimes concerned that we in the nutrition world, we practice allopathic nutrition. Instead of looking at nutrition as a way of making the body strong and whole and healthy and resilient so that it can resist disease, so the biochemistry runs appropriately, we do this for that. Oh, I've got that problem, I take this pill or this nutritional supplement. It's kind of like the nutritional version of allopathic medicine, allopathic nutrition, right? And so what I'm trying to get across is that nutrition is important because it builds the whole body. And then the body can handle whatever comes its way. When you have a strong body, you're resistant to viruses, you're resistant to diseases, your biochemistry proceeds effectively, you metabolize, you digest food correctly, your metabolic system runs correctly, your thyroid runs correctly, etc. So to me, that's what nutritional supplementation is about. It's about making the body healthy. And if you look at nutritional supplementation, or you look at the goal, I should say, as making the body healthy, then you have to address the other dimensions too. Because every time you think a thought, it creates a hormone. Every time you have a feeling, it creates a hormone, and those hormones make your body. The spiritual dimension is not about religion. It's not even really about God. What it is about feeling at home in the world, feeling at home in the universe, feeling comfortable. Because when we don't feel comfortable in the universe, we activate our defensive or emergency nervous system, our sympathetic nervous system, and that's where diseases come from a hyperactive or overactive or out of balance sympathetic nervous system. So spirituality, to me, means being safe in the world, feeling comfortable in the world. We look at the world as if it was the enemy, and we're encouraged to look at the world as if it's the enemy. Do you ever get that feeling? You watch the news and there's all this stuff happening.
Oh, jeez.
It's like...
It's horrible.
Right? It's like we're just sitting there and we're being bombarded with threats, survival threats, emergencies. Do you really need to know that a bus overturned in Tibet and, 30 kids were killed? That's what's on the news.
There are people who thrive on that stuff, Ben. People who want more and more and more of it. And gosh,
I don't know.
Dang it.
I can hypothesize on what's that about, on what that's about. It's like if we see that other people have it worse than us, maybe we don't feel so bad.
Huh.
Right?
Okay.
I mean, there could be that. Some of that's at play.
Right.
There's this element called Schadenfreude. Have you ever heard of Schadenfreude?
I have heard of that, yes.
Yes, it could be an element of Schadenfreude, But really, when you watch the news, what good does it do you to hear all these things?
Nothing, Ben.
Nothing. I haven't watched the news for a couple years now. some of it leaks through. You're on the internet, and you're waiting for a plane at the airport or whatever. Some of it leaks through, but I haven't sat down and watched the news for several years, and I don't miss anything.
That's a good point, Ben. I was talking with somebody the other day. He says, "Hey, you should watch." Oh, it was this event on TV, and I was like, dude, I don't want to watch that. I don't watch sad things, Ben. I don't even. I don't watch The Fox and the Hound. I don't watch Bambi. I don't watch Charlotte's Web.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that stuff.
Yes.
And I hate to say it, Ben, but I take better care of what goes into my mind than what goes into my body.
I was about to make an analogy there. There's a thing called food is information, or information is a type of food.
Uh-huh.
There's a mental diet and an emotional diet that we can be put on. Watch enlightening things, watch inspiring things. And what's really interesting to me is that, well, it seems like the world is falling apart, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you go on YouTube and you go on the internet and you kind of read and go look at books and sort of follow the cultural zeitgeist with the stuff that's going on in the culture, there's kind of an awakening that's happening.
How so?
And dare I say a spiritual awakening. People are learning things that were considered to be a little woo-woo and outside the box and kind of crazy 30, 40 years ago. Now they're becoming somewhat mainstream. Things like therapeutic touch and meditation and mind-body wellness. Yoga studios everywhere, or acupuncture, alternative healing. It's becoming kind of a thing now, right?
Yeah.
So while on the one hand the world seems to be falling apart, on the other hand there seems to be kind of an awakening that's happening. And I listen to I love near-death experiences.
Oh, jeez.
I love listening to them. They're so inspiring. They're so positive.
Have you ever had one?
I've had one, yes.
Yeah.
There are literally millions of near-death experiences now. When I read my first near-death experience, you know what I'm talking about when I say near-death experience, right?
Yes.
These people die and they come back.
Yes.
And so I read a book called Life After Life in 1975. I was 15 years old, and I'd never heard of anything like that before. And this was a book about by a guy named Ray Moody. He's the guy who actually coined the term near-death experience. And he just had a book of stories of people who died and were resuscitated, and they told about what it was like on the other side. And it's the most inspiring, mood-elevating information you could possibly incorporate into your mind. It gives you a sense of perspective and appreciation. And this stuff is all over the internet now. So while it seems like on one hand the world is falling apart, on the other hand there's a lot of really powerful, inspiring, awakening information that's coming out. Even just that thing, I don't even want to mention it because, I don't know if we'll get kicked off, but you're on 5 years ago, that thing where everybody was injecting.
Yeah.
And all. Now everybody's waking up. Now all of a sudden, that couldn't have happened 20 years ago or 15 years ago. Now all of a sudden people are questioning it.
They should have been questioning it from the beginning.
Of course they should have. Of course they should have, but all right.
Hey, Ben, have you seen that video of cats on a high dive board jumping into a pool?
No.
Oh, it's
great. But that's another thing that I'm glad you brought that up, because as silly as it sounds, do you know watching cat videos will activate your safety nervous system? It will stimulate the secretion of oxytocin and serotonin and calming neurochemicals.
I did not know that, Ben.
Watching cat videos, watching animals eating, watching beaver. There's a video of beaver eating cabbage that is the headline is "Watch this to relax" or something along those lines.
Beaver eating cabbage.
A
That's
beaver
cute.
eating cabbage. Yeah, just watching animals. Watching animals can be a wonderful way to activate your safety nervous system. And the point being, health and healing is not just about taking nutrition, as important as nutrition is. And we don't want to get into this kind of we don't want to pigeonhole ourselves into this idea that I have this problem, I take this supplement. Right. And I don't really like working that way. All the supplements, all the nutrients are important. That's why we have the Mighty 90 Essential Nutrients. That's why Doc came up with these systems, these kits that provide everything. And that's the way to look at nutrition. And you want to look at nutrition as one aspect, possibly the most important aspect of good health. But SMEP is important too.
Okay. I can't help it, Ben. It makes me chuckle.
SMEP. How do we even talk about SMEP?
I don't know. I mean, I just
brought that up.
But we have a bunch of questions, Ben. We have a bunch of
emails
questions.
Or live
text messages and phone calls.
I want to talk to some real people.
Okay, well, let's get to the phone lines then. Craig has a question about breads and gluten.
Yes. Hi, Craig.
Yeah. Hi, Ben. Hi, guys. Dr. Wallach. Yeah. Hey, Ben, do you ever eat bread?
I'm not a big bread guy, but yes, I definitely eat bread. It's not like a big thing for me, but yeah, I eat bread for sure. Why?
Well, old Doc Wallach, and the people that that work for him, like I talked to one the other night on the Guinea Kelly show. I mean, Dr. Wallach has them trained like German shepherds to talk about bread like it's poison, man. Wheat goes back thousands. Even the hunter-gatherers,
it's not a great, but it's not a great food, Craig, because our health started to decline when we figured out how to eat bread, or how to grains, really, not just bread, but how to. When we figured out how to process grains, that's when human health started to decline. It's about 10,000 years ago. So it's not a great food. It's hard to justify it as a great food. I'm sorry.
God Almighty, I want to ask Doc, did God make a huge mistake inventing wheat and grains, or what?
No, grains are grasses, and they're just a plant. It's not like he made a mistake making them. The mistake is when and Jared Diamond, who's an anthropologist, you may have heard of him. He wrote a book called Guns, Germs, and Steel, which is very famous, I think, in the 80s or 90s. He has an essay, you can get it on the internet, that talks about grains being the processing of grains, or agriculture, I think he says, as being one of the worst mistakes that human beings made. Because what happened when we became farmers as opposed to hunter-gatherers is all of a sudden we limited our foods to a very narrow mixture, a narrow blend. The diversity of the hunter-gatherer diet was limited by farming, by grains. And grains being very super high in carbohydrates, and once you process them, they don't have a lot of nutritional value, or they have some nutritional value, but not certainly not like meat and fish and eggs and vegetables. A case could be made for the fact that it was a serious mistake learning to farm as opposed to being hunter-gatherers. In fact, farmers work harder than hunter-gatherers. Did you know that? Agricultural.
But we're not hunter-gatherers. Can you imagine hunter-gatherers?
No, we're not going to hunter-gather. You're not going to hunter-gather in Santa Cruz, hunt and gather in Santa Cruz, or anywhere in Denver. No, that is true. But what I'm saying is when you say, did God make a mistake? It's not so much that the plant's a mistake. It's the processing of the plant and the usage of the plant as a sole source of calories that may be the mistake. And that is carbohydrates are the main source of calories for most people. And carbohydrates, of course, not only grains, but a large portion of our carbohydrate intake comes from grains, and they're subsidized, and they're processed, and they're super high in high glycemic index carbs, and they're a big problem. It's not a great food, bread, as much as tasty as it is. And by the way, if you chew your bread real slowly, you'll taste sugar in your mouth, and that's the reason why we like it. It's a comfort food because it activates sugar chemistry.
Well, Ben, civilization is really, they've existed on wheat. In the Bible, Jesus is called the bread of life. It's one of the things, and he divided the loaves. He miraculously, one of the stories where he fed the multitudes out there, he multiplied the bread and the fish.
Yeah. Bread is kind of a symbolic thing for nourishment. Because that was the main source of nourishment for many years, because it was cheap for eons. Bread symbolizes nourishment, and it symbolizes nourishment because that is the main source of nourishment for most people for eons. But that doesn't mean necessarily it's a quality food. It can have some nutritional value. I'm not going to tell you grains have protein, and grains have zinc, and grains have magnesium, and grains have fiber, and there's a lot of good things in grains, but how we process our grains is really the problem.
Thank you for the call, Craig. 831-479-1080.
And you wouldn't suffer if you did, from a health perspective, you wouldn't suffer if you didn't eat bread.
Remember, guys, we are looking for people to join our team, pharmacist Ben Fuchs and I, looking for people to join the team, themineralway.com. If you wish to sign up, you wish to enroll either as a preferred customer or as a distributor, either one, Ben, will get you wholesale prices on any of the products that you hear us talk about. That is themineralway.com to become a distributor or a preferred customer. We would love to have you join the team.
And you know what? People who join the team will get trained in nutrition and nutritional supplementation in addition to the longevity products. So you can be a healthcare. You can counsel people. I don't know if you know Rebecca and AJ. Are you familiar?
Yeah.
Rebecca and AJ actually have a program where they will certify you to be a certified wellness. I think they call it a certified health coach, a certified wellness coach. And we can do the same thing. So if you're interested in joining our team, me and Dave, we will train you not only in, of course, in the longevity supplements and the business, but in how to assess people's symptoms and how to use nutritional supplementation as well as SMEP to address those symptoms.
And I can even help train you in the ways of the ninja, Ben.
You can?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Are you a ninja?
Well, I haven't practiced for a long time.
You don't look like a ninja. I don't know. I've seen that.
Let's get to another phone call, Ben. This one ends
I was going to read you this article about zinc and Alzheimer's disease. We'll do that after.
Okay, yeah, let's pick up Elias. He's on his cell phone over Highway 17. Let's see what he has to say. You are in the air, Elias. Thank you for the call.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
What's up, Elias? Elias, is that the name?
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Elias.
Well, I said Eli, but then he said my name. But
okay.
I was just calling for your opinion since this is a mineral show.
Yes, sir.
What's your opinion on the shilajit resin?
I love it. Absolutely love it. And I use derivatives of it. And by the way, the plant-derived minerals are very similar to shilajit. Shilajit is a really interesting mineral complex that's found in the mountains and mostly in the Himalayas. Are you, by any chance, are you Indian, by any chance?
Hell no. No,
hell no. Okay, because most people that I know who know about shilajit are Indian because it's used in Ayurvedic medicine. It's basically like a resin, a tar that's found in the rocks in the Himalayan mountains.
Wow.
And it's the end result of decomposition of plant matter, much the same as the plant-derived minerals in beyond Tangy Tangerine. It's an awesome nutrient. Supplement.
I've been taking it myself. I've been taking it. I mean, I feel like I feel like I feel good with it, like I'm just asking your opinion.
It's great, but it's not as great as the plant-derived minerals. It's a little harder for the body to process, but it's got all your minerals. It's got all the same. It's got a lot of this. It's got exactly the same stuff, but it's just stickier. Shilajit's like a tar, so it's a little harder for the body to process the nutrients. The plant-derived minerals are water-soluble. They dissolve right in water, and you can drink them down. Shilajit is not water-soluble. It's like a resin.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Wow, interesting. Well, thank you for the call, Eli.
Have you heard of shilajit?
No, I haven't. What is it?
It's a tar, like a resiny substance that's found in the Himalayas.
Shilajit.
Himalayan mountains. Shilajit. Shilajit.
A shilajit. Okay.
And it has a nasty smell, and it's loaded with nutrients, but it's a little bit harder for the body to process than the plant-derived minerals.
It's got a nasty smell, like what? Like cheese?
Well, no,
like,
kind of
belly
like
button lint.
Cow pee.
Ew, gross. I wish I hadn't have asked, Ben. 218-5726. Let me see. I have to go to this computer over here on the other side. I think someone was asking about surfer's eye. Ben, do you know anything about surfer's eye?
Surfer's ear? I've heard of surfer's ear.
Me too. I don't know if this is a real text a real email or not.
I think that was, what I think that might be, and I'm not sure if you asked me about this thing called a pterygium. It's like a little flap on the eye.
No, it wasn't me.
Somebody else asked me about that. It's like a little flap on the eye, a little kind of fleshy growth out of the corner of the eye, and it's not a really big deal, but it can be uncomfortable. And anytime you have growths anywhere, and that's basically what a pterygium is, you want to think about the hormone insulin. Sometimes the hormone estrogen as well, but usually it involves metabolic syndrome. Growths, whether they're skin tags or pterygium or cysts, even acne pimples, those oftentimes are related to insulin, which is a growth substance that makes cells divide really rapidly. So pterygium is not necessarily a big deal, but it could be a sign that you have a metabolic issue, and it could be kind of weird looking.
831-479.
Can affect your vision if it gets too big.
1080 is the phone number, 831-479-1080, 218-5726, KSEODave@gmail.com, themineralway.com. You can interact with us any of those ways. We're here live every Monday from 5 to 6 p.m. If you're listening to us other than a Monday, it might be a replay. But again, if you want to get a hold of us live, Mondays, Pacific time, 5 to 6 p.m. Pharmacist Ben Fuchs and I here to answer your questions. Ben, let's take a quick break, and when we get back, We'll read that article, and then we'll pick up some more questions from the text line.
Sounds good.
KSEO Santa Cruz.
What if improving your health could also improve your income? At themineralway.com, you can launch your own home-based business, something real, flexible, and proven. When you enroll, you're not just getting amazing health products. You're starting a business you can run from your computer, smartphone, or even your landline. And yes, that means you can finally take advantage of the tax deductions available to business owners. That's right, your health, your income, and your taxes can all start working for you. You'll get your own personalized website, access to exclusive training materials, and private conference and video calls with health expert Ben Fuchs, a pharmacist who's helped thousands transform their lives with his no-nonsense approach to nutrition. There's no inventory to keep, no high-pressure sales tactics, just powerful products, a clear path, and the tools you need to succeed. Work part-time, full-time, or just in between. You set the schedule. You decide how far you want to take it, and you won't be doing this alone. At themineralway.com, we give you the education, support, and encouragement to build something that matters to you and the people you help. So if you're ready to feel better, earn better, and live better, go to themineralway.com right now or call 831-218-5726. That's themineralway.com or 831-218-5726. Better health, smarter income, the mineral way to a better life.
Buster, is that you? You're moving like a pup on espresso. What gives?
Thanks. Just keeping up with my routine, some light jogs, a few unauthorized trash inspections, and started taking Arthrodex.
Arthrodex? Is that one of those new chew toys with Bluetooth?
Nah, it's a supplement from Longevity. It's loaded with vitamins, minerals, amino acids, even stuff to keep my joints moving like they used to.
So, it's like a multivitamin, but it actually tastes good?
Exactly. My coat's shinier, I'm springier than ever, and the stairs don't mock me anymore.
Man, I've been getting winded halfway through Squirrel Patrol.
Tell your human to go to themineralway.com. That's where mine gets it. Easy peasy.
Done. I'm one biscuit away from entering the Zoomy Olympics.
Give your pets the nutritional support they deserve with Arthrodex from Longevity, because staying active, happy, and healthy never goes out of style. Available now at themineralway.com.
831-479-1080. 831 is the area code. 218-5726 with your text messages. kscodave@gmail.com. And again, of course, you can always join us and ask questions at themineralway.com. Pharmacist Ben Fuchs joining us. Now, Ben, you were talking about an article that you wanted to read.
I thought this was really cool. From the Journal of Neuroscience. This was this came out in March.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, this is from March 2021. I just read it today, but I didn't realize it's like 5 years old. It's about zinc and Alzheimer's disease. As it turns out, zinc supplementation is associated with reducing the risk and slowing down the progression of Alzheimer's disease, which I thought was kind of interesting because zinc is not only important for the brain, and children who don't get enough zinc notoriously suffer from brain health issues. Sometimes you got to wonder about kids who are deficient in zinc. Maybe that has something to do with learning disabilities. Might have something to do with dyslexia. Mm-hmm. And zinc deficiency is one of the more common mineral deficiencies. Also, zinc deficiency, or zinc, is associated with sugar metabolism. So the more sugar you're eating, the more zinc you need. And of course, we all know that carbohydrates, sugar, i.e. carbohydrates, make up the bulk of the standard American diet. So zinc deficiency is pretty darn common. But as it turns out now, according to this article, zinc can slow down the progression of Alzheimer's disease. Probably, it could have to do with the fact that zinc is important for the brain, but it could also have something to do with the fact that zinc also plays a role in sugar metabolism in diabetics and people who are dealing with dysglycemia, messed up blood sugar, are typically deficient in zinc.
Huh, interesting.
I love the Zinc FX, which we hardly ever talk about from Longevity, is a great way to get your zinc. There's also, of course, zinc in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, not the same amount, but I would personally, I take 50 milligrams of zinc every day. The Zinc FX is a great way to get your zinc. It has, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think it has 30 milligrams of zinc in the Zinc FX. And zinc is was on the COVID protocols. Zinc's so important for the immune system. And zinc is actually has 10 milligrams of zinc aspartate, which is a very effective form of zinc for the brain. Zinc deficiency is associated with acne too, by the way, skin breakouts. And zinc is one of the go-to nutritional supplements for helping folks deal with acne.
Dang, Ben, how do you know all this stuff, dude? It's amazing. Now, but let me ask you this, and let me at least.
I've been doing this a long time.
Ben, you have you have a gift. You have a special a gift, dude. I don't know how you know all this stuff and why it's all in one person's head, but it's incredible.
You know why?
Why?
It's kind of like, did you ever meet somebody who follows sports?
Yes.
And they know all the statistics of
Yes.
whatever, Shohei Ohtani or, whoever their favorite baseball player is.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like that. When nutrition and chemistry and molecules and supplements, they're like teams, sports teams and baseball players and statistics. And I don't know, you guys have, when you have sort of hooks in your brain to hang things on, it's easy to remember them. And I have a lot of hooks for chemistry in my brain. I've been doing chemistry for 40 years.
Dang, Ben.
40 years.
I am amazed, dude.
43 years, since 1982. When I first took biochemistry in, let me tell you a funny story.
Mm-hmm.
When I have a journalism degree, right? And I couldn't do anything with my journalism degree. I waited on tables. I bagged groceries. I did roofing. I did landscaping. I washed dishes. I did like the most menial labor with my journalism degree. So finally I decided I'm going to go to pharmacy school. I liked chemistry and I wanted to study food as medicine. So I go to pharmacy school and I'm kind of thinking I was sort of cocky about my intelligence. And I have to take chemistry before I go to pharmacy school, and I didn't understand chemistry. And the first chemistry course I took, I got a B. I was so proud of myself for getting a B. The second chemistry course I took, I don't know how I didn't get an F. I should have gotten an F, but it was summertime, so the teacher felt sorry for a bunch of us, so he gave us Ds, and I ended up getting a D, and I'm starting to get concerned. And then I take organic chemistry, right? And you've heard of it, I'm sure, organic chemistry. Everybody thinks that's a real nightmare. And I couldn't make heads or tails of it. It just did not make any sense to me. And every time we took a test, I was on the bottom. Like out of 100, I would get like a 7 and a 10. And that's after studying really, really hard. Can you imagine studying really, really hard and getting a 7?
I can imagine. I can imagine that, Ben. I know the feeling.
Yeah, okay, right? And so, but I was going to pharmacy school. I had to know chemistry. And so I was totally freaked out. And finally, I had to drop the course because I was going to fail. There's no way I was going to pass it. Mm-hmm. And so I dropped the course, and I was really depressed. I never had to drop a course before, and it definitely took me down a couple pegs from my egotistical self, thinking how smart I was. And I didn't think about chemistry for from October to January when I had to take organic chemistry again so I could get to pharmacy school. And the first day of organic chemistry in January, I understood it. Something happened, and it just clicked. And I became a chemist, and it was the most amazing thing. And to this day, I speak chemistry. I understand chemistry. But after organic chemistry, what happened was we took biochemistry, and biochemistry just absolutely blew me away. The fact that all of this stuff is happening right under our noses, that our bodies are parallel processing trillions and zillions and quadrillions, countless amounts of chemical reactions with an intelligence and a responsiveness and a parallel nature that doesn't interfere. Nothing interferes with each other. Like you have one little cell that's the size, 1/1000th the size of the head of a pin, right? A blob. A cell is a blob. When we think of a cell, we sometimes imagine that circle on the blackboard, in high school biology. It's not a circle. It's a blob, like a little blob of jelly. And within that blob, you have literally millions of working parts. And each one of these blobs is capable of producing up to 500 or 600 different chemicals a second. And all of these things are happening with some kind of intelligence that is allowing it to be responsive to the environment, responsive to other cells without interfering. Like the chemistry doesn't interfere with each other. How does that even happen? That's just godly. That's divine. And that is the feeling I got when I took biochemistry. I just became incredibly spiritual about it. It just blew me away from a spiritual, divine perspective, and I actually became religious. I don't even like that word, but I became spiritual from biochemistry. Wow. And I take it. That's how seriously I take it. It is the most. It's the most. To me, it's the most godly of all sciences because it relates chemistry, which can be kind of non-human or non-animal, to humans, to our behaviors, to our functioning. And that's the most fascinating science, the most amazing and fascinating and spiritual science to me is biochemistry. And I absolutely love it. And that's how I remember everything.
Ben, before we get to the next question, let me just ask you this. Your personal opinion, Ben. I understand you're not, a physicist or anything like that. But do you think, in your opinion, humans will ever be able to teleport from one place to another, in other words, being broken down in one place and being reassembled in another? And if so, is that a new person?
That's a great question. There was a famous Greek story about it's like a riddle. If you take a ship and you replace each plank,
right?
Have you heard of this?
It's the same idea.
Is it the same ship?
Right.
That's a great question, and I think not. I think it would be different. Is what my thought process would be, but I don't know the answer to that. I don't think it'll ever happen. But I was going to mention this because you were talking about time travel in your last the last segment before I went on. Isn't our imagination time travel?
It's one form, yes.
Yeah, isn't that one form of time travel?
Yes.
Like why do we marginalize our imagination so much? Like when we dream, we really think that stuff's happening. You know that comedian Mitch Hedberg? Have you heard of Mitch Hedberg?
No.
Oh, he's a really funny comedian. He died like 20 years ago or so. But he has all these YouTube videos, and he says he does these quick little short jokes, and he goes, I hate to dream. 1 minute I'm there comfortably sleeping in my bed, and the next thing I know, I got to go build a go-kart with my landlord. And that's kind of like a dream, The dream's really happening. We really think that stuff's happening. Isn't that funny?
831-218-5726. That is the text line. Here's one for you. It says, here's a question for Ben. What is the most important mineral that most people are not getting enough of?
Oh, you can't say that. The case could be made for a lot of them. Zinc for sure. Mm-hmm. Selenium maybe. Mm-hmm. Magnesium. Most people get at least some magnesium. If I had to say one, I would probably say zinc. Is the one mineral that is so important that we're not getting enough. Iodine maybe is another one, although in Santa Cruz you don't really have that much of a problem because you have all that seafood. But people who live in the middle part of the country, because iodine is really an ocean mineral, it's not really found terrestrially as much. Possibly iodine, given its important nature for all the cells. But zinc or iodine, if I had to guess on one. Is there a purpose to that question? Is there a follow-up?
No, it was just a general question.
I would say zinc or iodine. Those would be my two guesses.
Again, Ben, why Tangy Tangerine is such a miracle is because you don't have to, go and find zinc and go and find copper and go and find titanium or whatever it is. It's all in there, plant-derived, colloidal, so it's easily absorbable. When you mix it with liquid, it's just an amazing product.
You know what else? Let me tell you something else that we don't even talk about enough.
Yeah.
The shale that the plant-derived minerals come from also contain vitamins and also contain amino acids and also contain fatty acids. And the Beyond Tangy Tangerine doesn't just have colloidal minerals, it has ionic minerals, which are a completely different type of mineral. And by the way, the word mineral is not a correct word, even though we all say minerals. It's really elements, not minerals.
Okay.
There's no minerals in the body except for in the skeletal system. There's minerals, but other than the bones and the teeth, there's no minerals in the body. It's all atoms and elements. And the colloidal minerals are really colloidal elements. If you look at the periodic table with all little boxes, all of those little boxes are important. And all of those little boxes, whether you're talking about molybdenum or niobium or ruthonium, there's these bizarre elements and atoms. They all play a role somehow in health, whether it's plant health or whether it's biological health. And the way we get these minerals, typically, we're supposed to get these they're called trace and ultra trace minerals, not like the calcium and the magnesium, which are, you need those in grams. The trace and the ultra trace minerals, the ones that are used in the body in tiny fractions, the only place to get them is from produce or vegetables and from the soil. And because of the way the soil is, we're not getting them. And so most of us are running deficient in these ultra trace and trace elements that you can't even pronounce, but you get them in your Beyond Tangy Tangerine. And that's one of the main reasons why everybody benefits from BTT. I mean, you've been doing this now 15 years or so? I don't even know.
About 15.
Right? Yeah. How many stories have you heard about Beyond Tangy Tangerine? About the amazingness? Countless.
Yeah.
Countless. Because what you're getting is, it's not so much the macro minerals like the magnesium and the zinc and the calcium and the iron, but it's the micro and trace minerals and ultra trace minerals, the ones that they're present in 0.0000001 milligram kind of concentrations. Very, very tiny concentrations, but yet they play a role in biological and botanical health.
Somebody was asking me the other day, Ben, and I can't remember who it was that had not tried BTT, and he was asking me, "Oh, come on, is it really like that? Does it really do?" Dude, yes.
No, right?
I cannot tell you enough, and I'm not trying to sell it to you. I'm just telling you that it is an incredible product. I have never, ever seen anything like that. I am so convinced, Ben, that stuff is...
You couldn't stop talking about it.
Right, you just can't.
I can't stop talking about it. I will not stop talking about Beyond Tangy Tangerine. I have friends who don't want to have anything to do with network marketing or don't have anything to do with, nutritional formulations and supplements, but they get their Beyond Tangy Tangerine every month or every 2 months from me. And they love it.
Absolutely. I mean, the proof, just try it. All you have to do is try it for a few days, and you will see.
Exactly. And, it's so versatile, too. You can make popsicles with this stuff.
Wow.
Did you know that? You can take Beyond Tangy Tangerine, put it your powder and put it in water, and then freeze it. And then when the ice cube in like an ice cube tray, and then when it gets not too hard, you can put popsicle sticks in there and put it back in the freezer, and it makes great little popsicles for your kids.
That's a great idea, man.
Isn't that a great idea? Yeah, it's totally versatile. It's super tasty, and by the way, you don't have to. The directions on the bottle, the 2 scoops for every 16 ounces of water, you don't have to follow that. You can make your Beyond Tangy Tangerine an eighth of that, and just sip on it all day long. And then when you run out of water, sip on it. Fill another water bottle with an eighth of a teaspoon or an eighth of a scoop, and do it again. You don't have to follow those directions. And in fact, a lot of people who follow directions end up not liking the taste, and then they don't use it. It's too strong, right?
Yeah.
So you don't need to follow the directions. What you want to do is you want to find a place where you like the taste of it. And just sip on it slowly, and that is the best way to get it. And you know what else, Dave? For elderly people who are frail, or people who are post-surgery, coming out of surgery, it's especially valuable. Now that Christmas is coming up in a couple months, 2-3 months, I can't believe that. In 3 months is Christmas. It makes a great Christmas present, especially for somebody in a nursing home.
It makes a great bar mitzvah present too,
bar
Ben.
Mitzvah
and
present
bat mitzvah.
Too, that's right.
Yeah. Quinceañera present.
What's
right?
that?
It's a quinceañera is when the girl turns 15. They make a great sweet 16 present, Ben.
Okay, all right. It makes a great present for anybody.
Kwanzaa.
It's a great present.
It's
a great present.
Great present.
I give a lot of Beyond Tangy Tangerine away.
Valentine's Day. Ben, I don't know if you remember that Longevity had these chocolates that had BT. They had different flavors and different things, but one of them
calcium chocolate.
One of them had BTT sprinkled on top, and I tell you what, chocolate with BTT was amazing. It was really good.
Which edition BTT?
I think it was the 2.0.
Really? That's kind of interesting. I have never baked with BTT, but I think you could probably bake with it.
I'll bet you can, but sprinkle it on some chocolate and you will be amazed.
All right.
Here's a text message, Ben, and then we have another phone call, but let's get this text. It says, "Thanks for your show. Anything new on Schamberg's disease treatment? I'm 67, was diagnosed close to 20 years ago, Discoloration on my legs only, no other symptoms, but it's increasing. Love your show, thank you.
Ooh, that's awesome. Does he mean when he says loves our show, does he mean me too?
I think it means me only.
Okay, that's all right.
Yeah. Schomburg's disease, Ben.
Schamberg's disease is a pigment disease.
Okay.
It's you get these kind of like reddish brown lesions on the skin. But it's really interesting. He said something. That gentleman said something very interesting. He said that's the only thing he has.
Yeah.
And that's somehow, sometimes that's how we look at health challenges. I just have Schamberg's disease. It doesn't work that way. Schamberg's disease, if you go to the doctor, they'll tell you there's no known cause for it. And they'll tell you that about a lot of diseases. But if you look at the biological features of Schamberg's disease, you'll see that it has to do with fragile capillaries, which trigger inflammation, which trigger these reddish brown lesions. It's basically a weakness in the connective tissue, and that's one of the basic generic ways the body breaks down. So whenever you have these tiny little red spots in the skin, you want to think about broken blood vessels or broken capillaries. And anytime you have broken capillaries, you want to think about connective tissue deteriorating and inflammation. So it's interesting how he says he doesn't have any other health challenges, because you can't not have any other health challenges. It's not like there's a Schamberg's disease angel that just sprinkles Schamberg's disease dust on you from the sky. It's a metabolic biochemical breakdown. There's something going on in the chemistry. All that chemistry that we just talked about, how you have hundreds of chemical reactions happening a second in every one of the cells of your body, all that stuff has to be organized, and it has to happen with a coherency and a certain kind of choreography when things aren't bumping into each other. But as inflammation, and we can talk about that here in a second, as inflammation starts to kick in the circulatory system, the whole metabolic system gets thrown off. And diseases like Schamberg's disease that are said to be, this is the doctor word, idiopathic. Have you heard that term? Idiopathic means there's no known cause. Idiopathic. Diseases that are supposedly idiopathic always are about the biochemistry, the metabolism, how the body is processing chemistry. Now, when you're a baby, for the most part, or a little kid, you don't have these kinds of problems. Schamberg's disease doesn't happen to kids. And diseases, these degenerative conditions, don't happen to kids. It happens as we get older. Why? Because as we get older, the impact of toxicity and inflammation in the bloodstream accrues. As the months go by, as the years go by, as the decades go by the time you're 60, 70, 80 years old, you've had decades of of an accumulation of toxicity in the bloodstream. And it can't help but deteriorate and break down chemistry. It can't help but happen, and that's what Schamberg's disease is. And that's what autoimmune diseases are. And they still tell you those are idiopathic as well. And that's what the disease where your retina breaks down, I forget what they call it.
Degeneration?
Retinal detachment, or retinal detachment, or any kind of eye disease, glaucoma. Any of these things are all about the body breaking down from the blood. This is so important. The body breaks down from the blood. All disease is cell disease, and all cell disease is about dirty, sludgy blood. How many times have you heard me talk about it?
All
dirty,
the time, Ben.
Sludgy blood. It's the key to everything. In the Bible, it says the life of the flesh is in the blood, and for good reason. That's what carries the life. It delivers the nutrients, it delivers the oxygen, it drains toxicity, it generates electrical charges, and the blood is a very complex system. It's got proteins and fats and minerals and gases and oxygen and carbon dioxide and glucose and hormones, and all kinds of stuff is floating around in the blood, and the blood has to be kept just so. It has to be kept with just the right amount of fluid, just the right amount of oxygen, just the right pH, just the right thickness, just the right viscosity. The system has to be kept just so. But once toxicity enters into the bloodstream through a leaky gut, through an intestine for the most part, although injections will do it too, as we're learning from people who got injected, you don't violate the sanctity of the blood without repercussions. Mm-hmm. And over the course of time, the blood becomes toxic. Now, the blood does have a way of filtering itself out, and so toxicity will get dumped off into the tissue, and the blood will maintain a certain amount of cleanliness, if you will. But one of the ways the blood reacts to toxicity is by becoming sludgy. Why do you think you put your forensic biologist hat on here, Dave? Why would the blood become sticky and sludgy and coagulated and slow when it has toxicity in it? What purpose would that serve?
Ben, I don't know.
So the stuff doesn't get delivered everywhere. Otherwise, all the stuff is going to get delivered to the organs. So the blood kind of slows down to slow down the delivery of the toxins.
Wow.
So here's the thing. This is what I'm going to say now is so important. Check this out. When the blood becomes sticky and sludgy, one of the things that happens is, because it's not moving effectively, is your organs don't get blood. That means they don't get oxygen. That means they don't get nutrition. That means they accumulate toxicity. So you know what the brain does? The brain reads the organs. The brain's constantly reading the body. So the brain reads, say, the spleen or the lungs or the heart, and it says, wait a minute, there seems to be a shortage of oxygen and nutrition. It seems like the blood's not moving. So you know what the body does, or the brain does to the body then? It raises the blood pressure. And this is the cause of what's known as essential hypertension. You've heard that term, essential hypertension?
No, I've not heard that term.
95%, the vast majority of hypertension, high blood pressure cases, are said to be essential hypertension. You know what that means? That means it's just you. It's part of you. We don't know. There's no cause to it. It's just who you are. And that's what they want you to think, because they don't know. They said, well, everything seems to be fine. No, there's no reason. So what they're not seeing is the brain is raising the pressure to try to get oxygen and nutrition and detoxification from the organs. And so this high blood pressure is a compensatory adaptive mechanism. And so what do we do as healthcare professionals, as doctors, or as patients? We take a drug that forces our body to do exactly what it's trying to prevent, which is drop the blood pressure. And then our organs don't get fed, and they don't get oxygenated, and they accumulate toxicity, and you'll end up with some kind of organ dysfunction, and nobody will ever pin it to the dirty blood or to the beta blocker or vasodilator or antihypertensive that you've been taking, because it won't look like there's a connection. So the point being is what we call disease, like Schamberg's disease, to bring it full circle, is really the way the body is manifesting toxicity that gets into the blood. Period. That's it. There is no chronic degenerative disease that does not involve sticky, dirty, sludgy blood. And just by understanding that alone, you can go a long way towards reducing your Schamberg's disease symptoms or your autoimmune symptoms or your heart disease symptoms or whatever it is, just by understanding that simple mechanism that all disease is cell disease, and all cell disease is preceded by dirty, sticky, sludgy, hypercoagulated, viscous blood.
Ben, I got one more question here, and we got 4 minutes to do it. This is Harold, and he's calling from Los Gatos. I believe I got that right. You're in the air.
Ben, I heard you talking earlier about blood sugar in alcohols. And I noticed that on the BTT 2.5, there's an ingredient called inositol.
Inositol.
Is that to give sweetener?
Inositol is a fascinating nutrient. It's a vitamin. One of the most important vitamins. It actually helps your body process sugar. It helps relax you. It's a wonderful nutrient. It's probably not, it doesn't have much of a sweetness to it, although it is technically, like you say, OL, a sugar alcohol. It's not like sorbitol or xylitol or mannitol, which are much sweeter. There's probably a tiny little bit of sweetness to inositol, but I'm guessing that there's inositol in there. It's not for sweetening, it's for the nutritional value. And inositol is one of the great underappreciated vitamins.
Well, I'm a new user to BTT 2.5. Is there a 3.0 in the works?
There is. Well, no, it's already out. It's the 3.0 is part of what's called the Rise and Restore. Do you know about that, Dave?
I do, yes.
Yeah, so the 3.0 is a little bit different than the other Beyond Tangy Tangerines in the sense that they divided it up into a morning and evening, where they give you the nutrients that function, that are important for the morning in the morning powder, and then you have an evening powder that has things that are more important for evening. And there are nutrients that are more appropriate for the evening that help you with growth, that help you with repair, and also help you sleep and help relax you. And obviously you want more stimulating and protective nutrients in the morning. So they divided it up a little bit more. They divided it up in a way that they didn't with the 2.5 and the 2.0, and they call it Rise and Restore. Personally, I use the 2.5, which I absolutely love.
Well, I've just started using the 2.5, and I've heard other callers indicate that they thought it was way too sweet. I also agree.
Did you hear what I said about that? Were you listening when I said that? I said, don't follow the directions. Find a place where you like the taste of it. You know what I'm saying?
I've doubled the amount of water. I'm putting in 16 ounces of water, and now I'm down to doing half a scoop.
That's fine.
It's still too sweet.
Then I do half a teaspoon.
Mm-hmm.
A scoop is 2 tablespoons, 6 teaspoons. So when you do half,
16 ounces, right? Or 16 grams, I think.
No, I think a scoop should be 30 grams. It's an ounce scoop, isn't it? I'm not sure because I never.
It should be a 1 ounce scoop. Yeah.
If it's a 1 ounce scoop, that's 30 grams. There's 5 grams in a teaspoon, so that'd be 6. You're doing 6 teaspoons. If you do half, you're doing 3 teaspoons. Personally, I do half a teaspoon, which is 1/6 of what you're doing, and I like the taste there. My mom, on the other hand, she likes it really sweet, so she'll do. She doesn't do a whole scoop, but she'll do half a scoop. So there's places you just have to find where you find that it's palatable for you, where it's tasty for you, where it's not too sweet and has just the right amount of flavor to it.
Good. I'll work on that. Thanks a lot, and I know you guys have to rush.
You bet.
Thank you for the call. 831-479-1080.
An hour goes by so fast on this.
Oh man, Ben,
it's
I wish time travel was possible, because then we'd have plenty of time to answer questions.
Well, you know what? Time travel isn't going to be necessary because it's going to be next Monday before you know it.
Oh, I like that, Ben.
It's just like snap of a finger. Isn't that how it goes? It's October already.
Jeez.
Isn't that crazy? Halloween coming up.
My favorite time of year, Ben. I love the holidays, which begin with Halloween for me.
Wow.
Ben Fuchs, thank you for joining us, dude. It's always fun to have you aboard. Always incredibly informative brain. Now you go take care of that big brain of yours, Ben.
Okay. Thank you so much. Good to talk to you. Bye, Santa Cruz, and we'll talk to you next Monday, Dave.
KSCO Santa Cruz. Did I just call him Brain instead of Ben? I don't know. Coming up on 6 p.m. here on the West Coast, every Monday, live at 5 Pacific time. Pharmacist Ben Fuchs and here are ready to take your questions, text messages, emails, phone calls. Phone number is 831-479-1080. Text message is 831-218-5726. Email kseodave@gmail.com or go to themineralway.com also to enroll as a distributor or as a preferred customer. We'll see you next week.
Want better health and a better income? At themineralway.com, you can start your own home-based business. No inventory, no pressure, just powerful health products, real support, and a business you can run from your computer, smartphone, or landline. When you enroll, you'll get your own personal website, access to exclusive training materials, and private video calls with health expert Ben Fuchs. This is a real business with real benefits, including the ability to take advantage of tax deductions available to business owners. Whether you're looking for part-time income or a whole new direction, this is your chance to feel better and earn smarter. Visit themineralway.com or call 831-218-5726. That's themineralway.com or 831-218-5726. Your health, your business. The Mineral Way to a better life.
Hello, everybody. This is Dave Michaels, co-host of The Mineral Way with pharmacist Ben Fuchs. Now, I could go on and on about what's inside Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0, but let's be honest, there are a million products out there with buzzwords like beetroot, CoQ10, B vitamins. You've heard it all before. But what really matters is how it makes you feel. And with Tangy Tangerine, you're gonna feel better right now. You'll have more energy, more focus, and a sense that your body is finally getting what it needs. Stick with it for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You'll notice the difference. Your body begins to rebuild itself. You look better, you feel better, life just works better. And that's what makes Tangy Tangerine unlike anything else that you've ever tried. So don't just take my word for it. Try it today and feel the difference for yourself. Here's how to get your Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Log on to themineralway.com or davemichaels.com. That's themineralway.com or davemichaels.com. And start feeling better today.